It's very important, if you don't know the history, the service history of a car, that you start off with the basics. The things that you really gotta do as soon as you get the vehicle, like we're about to do right now, which is cut the muffler. Me tengo el cerebro así.
No tengo en mente. Yes, sir. Dale, bello.
So we went ahead and cleaned out as much as we could from the top side of the engine, as well as the oil pan area. We still gotta clean the transmission area, transfer case, and the front axle, which is pretty bad. Take a look at the progress so far. This still needs in-depth cleaning with some chemicals and a pressure washer, but right now it's at a way better stage than it was before, and it's easier to work on and not have all of this nastiness dripping on you as you're working. So yeah, let's keep going. Still gotta do the front axle, like I said, transmission, transfer case, a couple more things. And after that, we're gonna go ahead and start working on the exhaust. So we're gonna go ahead and put this midsection of the exhaust that we ended up cutting out at the beginning of the video. We chopped out the muffler, but we didn't have any tubing or clamps to fully finish it. Now that we have it, we're gonna go ahead and put that on so we can properly hear how it sounds instead of being an open downpipe pretty much. Thankfully, we didn't need this. There was a lot of brake cleaner on the top and the bottom side of the engine, so we kept it nearby just in case. So right now that we're done with the brake flush, clutch line flush, we went ahead and did the exhaust. Let's check the air filter that we haven't checked it. And then after that, I think we're gonna do a little coolant flush and call it a day. That gives us some peace of mind when driving this. Jesus. Turbo looks clean though. We're definitely gonna delete this right here. We don't want any more oil going back into the turbo like that. I'm assuming it's some type of PCV system. This was pre-emission, so I'm not quite sure how it worked back then. It's definitely coming off. It's way too nasty to leave in there. Just want to wipe down. Don't want any air going into the turbo all nasty like that. God damn. I'm gonna take this to the parts cleaner because it's way too dirty with a little elbow. Jesus. It's completely saturated with oil. There was actually some kind of insulator in here that I went ahead and threw out because it was completely soaked in oil. This is what the turbo looks like. It's very small. It's very much covered in oil, but the impeller looks good. I'm gonna go ahead and clean this up, this mess, in the parts cleaner, and try to get that filter as clean as possible to reinstall it. And most likely we're gonna end up doing some type of custom air box so we can put a snorkel in this later down the road, or in the meantime just a cone filter, because I'm sure that filter right there is not gonna be easy to find unless it matches another BMW that is produced in the States, which is unlikely. That filter is huge. So we're gonna see. Let's clean that up and go from there. So right now that the air box is ready, all that is cleaned up, we're gonna go ahead and drain the coolant, just because, just for good measure, it doesn't look that great in here in the reservoir. So although we're gonna go ahead and replace the water pump, thermostat, and all those components that tend to go out, I still wanna have some fresh coolant in it in the meantime. Because the water pump and the thermostat are working properly, it's not necessary to change it right now. Even though we have them already, that is for another day, but I would still like to put some fresh coolant and get that flowing, circulating, and flushing that nastiness that is in the expansion tank. Maybe for another day, whenever we do the water pump and thermostat, we're gonna go ahead and clean that. I've seen a couple tricks online on how to clean this properly, and they come out basically brand new. So you guys can see that looks very, very bad. It doesn't smell like oil, which is good, but we're gonna have to do a couple flushes before this looks somewhat good. I wasn't able to reach the radiator drain plug. I can see it from here. However, it hits on the frame, so we're not able to fully take it out. So I went ahead and took out the lower radiator hose. I'm gonna get the car a quick crank, let it run for a couple seconds so it gets all the coolant out of the system. And we can throw some fresh one in it. In a couple of days, throw another coolant flush at it when we do the other components. I forgot that the expansion tank on this car is actually the same as any other BMW, so the pressure tester that I have actually works on this. So we're gonna push the entire coolant out of the system without having to start the car. The lower radiator hose disconnected. We're gonna throw some pressure on it, and it's gonna empty the entire system. That's a good trick if you're trying to get the entire cooling system, empty it out. If you're doing an engine repair or you're doing an extensive cooling repair and you don't want to have to disconnect the hose, and from each hose that you disconnect, some coolant comes out of it. This is a good way to drain the entire system.